Today we're learning how to play There's Nothing Holding Me Back by Shawn Mendes on Shawn's signature Martin guitar. This video is sponsored by Martin Guitars, which we'll jump into later in this lesson. So for this song, we are in standard tuning, no capo, and we have 3 guitar parts. We're gonna start easy and work our way up. So the first guitar part that we have is a super simple, kind of like bass line. Now we're only playing on 2 strings here, the low E and A string. So we're gonna start with our index finger on the 3rd fret of the low E, slide up to the 5th A, ring finger 7th fret of the low E, back to 5th A, 5th E, and then 5th A, 5th E, one more 5th A. So it's gonna sound like this all together. Now to make it sound a lot more like what you're hearing in the song, there's a couple of things that we're gonna wanna do. The first thing is we're gonna wanna mute our strings. So finding a comfortable way to rest your palm down near the bridge where you can mute the strings just like this. You don't want them to ring out anymore, so you want it to be very staccato like. So and it gives it that really cool effect. And the second thing that you can do to really fill this in and make it more interesting is to add in some alternate picking in between the notes that we're playing. I really find that talking out patterns really helps me as I'm learning them. So go slow with you. We have down, down, up, down, 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 up, down, up, down, 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 up, down, up, down, 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 up, down, up, down. So really in between, it's just some down, up picking. That's it. Kind of like you're strumming your strings, but you're not. Now our second guitar part, we are essentially adding on to the first guitar part because we kind of played like the root notes of these now power chords that we're gonna be playing. So you're gonna be in the same position. So the whole like, so keep that pattern in mind as I teach you these chords. So what we're gonna be doing are not bar chords, so don't freak out. These are not bar chords, these are power chords because they're powerful chords. So we're going to start off on the 3rd fret with a G5 to 5th fret D5 up to the 7th fret B5 back to D5 up to A5 on the 5th fret and then again D5 A5 D5. So it's the same exact rhythm and pattern as those notes that we learned. So it's gonna go. Okay, so here's something interesting. On the G5, we're gonna strum down, but on every other power chord in this progression, we're gonna strum up, which sounds counterintuitive, but we're gonna make it work. If you listen to the song, if you really listen to the chords, you'll actually hear that they are strummed up instead of down. We're gonna essentially build an entire strumming pattern around this, so that way, instead of down, up, 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 it's gonna sound like this. So how I'm achieving this effect is that the spaces in between the chords that we're playing, we're just doing muted strums. So what I'm doing here is that after I play a chord, I release the pressure from my fingers and I simply am now resting my fingers over the strings so that way it's all muted. There's nothing, you don't want anything ringing out, nothing buzzing, just straight mutes. So I'll walk us through really slow. We have down, down, up, down, up, 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 down, up, down, up, 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 down, up, down, up, 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 down, up, down, up, down. And that repeats the cycle. Oh, I've been shaking. I love it when you go crazy. You take all my inhibitions. Baby, there's nothing holding me back. You take me places that tear up my reputation, manipulate my decisions. Baby, there's nothing holding me back. Okay, so right now is the perfect time for a practice break. Get hydrated. And what I want you to do now is I want you to stretch and wiggle your fingers, because we have covered so far the rhythm in the song, but we are about to jump into the hook / intro / interlude, which is an entire lead part. And this is gonna require a little bit more involvement. So just get your fingers ready, get them all ready to go. While you're doing that, I'm gonna go ahead and tell you more about Shawn's signature guitar with Martin, because it is incredible. First off, let's just talk about the size. This is not a full-size guitar. It is a very comfortable 3/4 size. It's also stunning, very beautiful. On the 3rd fret here, we actually have Shawn's signature inlaid, which is really cool. There's a couple other really fascinating details about this guitar. We'll start with the bridge here. So on the bridge, there are 2 birds, one on each side. And this is actually inspired by the tattoo on Shawn's right hand, which is super cool. There's also a little hidden detail of this guitar, and it was really hard for me to get a shot of this, but if you look down into the sound hole, there's actually a quote engraved into the body, and it says, "You'll never be alone." Also, another important detail that I should mention, it is acoustic electric. It has a pickup system. It's got a Fishman built in, so that way you can plug it in and further amplify your sound. So if you are a fan of Shawn Mendes, which I am assuming that you are because you're watching this video right now, I would highly recommend checking this guitar out. It's super cool. I believe it's $7.99 right now. I have the link down below for you to check out, and you can learn more about it. There's even more details about the specifications on the website if you want to nerd out about that stuff. So if you would like to learn more about Shawn's signature guitar with Martin, I'll have that link down below for you. And thank you so much to Martin Guitars for sponsoring this lesson. Now on to our 3rd and final guitar part, we have that chasing hook. The only strings we're going to be using for this are low E, A, and D. We have 3 different shapes. We're going to start off with our first shape here. So you're going to want your first finger on the 2nd fret, D string, and then your 2nd finger on the 3rd fret of the low E. And again, for this, you're going to want to use your palm to mute the strings, so that way. So our first shape is going to give us this part. So we're going to start by picking our low E, then the D string, hammer onto the 4th, then just the D string with our first finger on here. So, and we're going to do this twice. Just like that. Now for our second shape here, we're going to move our index finger up 1 string, and then we're going to remove our 2nd finger, and we're going to place our 3rd finger on the 4th fret D string. And we're going to have kind of a similar thing happen with another hammer on. So we're going to go ahead and start by picking the A string, and then the D string, hammer on to the 5th fret. And I realize this is a bit of a stretch, and we're using our pinky finger, which tends to be our weakest guitar finger, but this is great because it's going to give you a little pinky workout. So we're going to do this twice, just like the other pattern. Just like that. In our last shape, all we got to do is take our index finger back down to the D string here on the 2nd fret. So what we're going to do is pick our A string open, then D string, hammer onto the 4th fret, back to the 2nd. And for this shape, we're going to play 4 times. Now keep your index finger right here in this last shape that we did, because I want to help you loop back around to the beginning of this entire picking pattern. So the first shape actually works just like this. So we have our index finger already here. Just take your 2nd finger and place it back on to the 3rd fret of the low E string, and you're back to square one. once you have that part down, you have the entire song. You just learned 3 guitar parts. You learned a bass line, you learned some power chords, and you learned a freaking lead line. If you're feeling some overwhelm and this is a lot of information to take in, just start with whatever feels like the easiest guitar part to you and work your way up until you have the entire song. You could even do this. If you are like super beginner level and you just need to take it easy, you could even just do all open chords or regular chords. You go G, B minor, which is not a super beginner chord, but find an easy way to play B minor. Then go D, A, D, A, D. You can even add the chucks in between. You can go. Not as easy to mute the strings in between. It's so much easier to do that with the power chords, which I recommend giving it a go with the power chords because you're not barring all the strings. And that is how you play There's Nothing Holding Me Back by Shawn Mendes on guitar. If you would like to learn more of Shawn's music, you can tap my playlist right here. Thank you again to Martin Guitars for sponsoring this video, and don't forget to check out Shawn's signature guitar with Martin. I'll have that link down below for you. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today, and I will see you in the next lesson.